out that Grace would possibly have a birth defect when she was 18 weeks in utero. And actually, I have a picture of this visit. This was me when I was pregnant here. But this was the day we found out that she was, 1, a girl, and that 2, she could possibly have an isolated right club foot.
I first realized when we went to a high-risk pregnancy doctor, and she identified it immediately. She knew. She said I know pretty much 99% that there's a club foot here.
She wasn't sure if that condition would be associated with other more severe conditions that would be genetically related, and some of these other severe conditions would have been extremely devastated. We were, of course, upset that something was wrong with our child, but having a club foot isn't as extreme as what it could have been linked to. And at that time, she told us that as the pregnancy would move forward, she would have more of an indication of if it was linked to something more serious.
So, obviously, I was saddened by it because I knew she wasn't gonna have a fair chance right off the bat. I didn't know what the long-term effects were. I know it's one of the most common, or learned that it's one of the most common birth defects. And then also stressed out because you don't know, usually when there's a birth defect, there's other birth defects also.
The doctor had to be she really had to cover her bases in medical terms, and what really upset us and what I remember most is that she asked us if we wanted to continue with the pregnancy, and that's really what upset me because that really didn't cross my mind, but it's sad to hear that when someone says that to you. And then you're thinking, why would we want to? What could this be? And it wasn't until my obstetrician called me and kind of relieved me of some of my worries. He said, look, if it was something more severe or genetically related, he thought that our numbers, there would be other factors. He didn't have to get as scientific as the specialist, so he was just kind of talking more in layman's terms, and I was upset telling him, well, she asked us if we wanted to abort this pregnancy, and he said, oh, don't worry about it. They just have to tell you that because you are technically close to the legal time where you could, and I guess some people go that route. She had a series of foot manipulations, and they force her foot. It seems quite barbaric because they're just forcing her foot out little by little. If you can imagine, her foot was like this. They want to force it out little by little by little. So the first time they force it out, they would massage it quite drastically because the newborn's bones are still very malleable. So they would force it out, and then they would cast her entire leg from her toe all the way up to her hip. And they would keep her forced position in that cast for about a week. And then we'd have the cast removed, she'd have her leg massaged, and the whole series would happen again.
And that went on for a number of weeks, maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then she had to have a surgery performed in which they cut her Achilles tendon, and then they kind of force the foot into the position that it should be in. Because one of the problems with clubfoot is that the Achilles tendon is too short. So by cutting that, it was amazing that I even knew that this would happen, but they could cut it and it would actually just grow back together longer. By kind of forcing the foot in a certain direction, they could cut it and then it would grow longer, basically.
Eventually they stopped when the foot was overcorrected. About 10 months into her life, and then she had to wear a metal bar and shoes.
These are the shoes. Position her feet like this. So for a while, she had to wear them. I don't remember how frequently, but after a while it became only when she slept. It was supposed to be when she napped, and then when she slept at night. But we would pretty much, it was hard to put them on her when she napped, so we would usually do it when she slept.
I thought Grace was special because I don't think anyone else in the world had boots on while they were sleeping.
I can't really remember anything that she went through except her going to the doctor and her sitting around with her cast.
I don't know if having a clubfoot has affected Grace's personality. She's certainly very strong-willed, and I can remember in those many doctor's visits when they would force her leg out, she would fight it with all of her might, and it was torturous for me because she was screaming her head off the entire time, and you can't really soothe them. They're pinned down and someone's forcing your child's foot out, and she would fight it right down to the nail. And it really showed her strength and her will. And she's like that. She's just very strong-willed. Whether she was born that way, probably. I think this will only make her stronger.
Yeah, I don't think it's really that obvious. She wears the shoes at night. Other than that, luckily we're very lucky that her foot was corrected so well. There's still a chance that she may need more surgeries down the line.
I'm very proud of Gracie because she is cute.
She's always happy, and I really, really like to play with her.
In the grand scheme of things, hopefully this will just be a drop in the ocean. It was hard on us, her early years, mostly her year as a baby, just because those treatments were so frequent and so hard on us emotionally. To hear her cry and get her foot manipulated and have your sweet baby have this huge cast. And the shoes are a little bit cumbersome too, but even now as a 2-year-old, people who see her and maybe haven't seen her in a while, they're just amazed knowing her condition because she'll climb up a rock wall, and she's our 3rd child, so we're not as worrisome about, oh, she'll be fine kind of attitude, and she's as active as any 2-year-old would be.
She's been doing well with the treatment, and he says that she's been responding nicely. I think other than her foot being a little bit of a different size, other than that, she seems to be, pretty normal.
I think her condition could possibly affect her physically and mentally. Her one leg that had the club condition is smaller than the other leg. If you were to look at both of her legs side by side, the one leg is just skinnier. It may possibly be shorter, and her foot is smaller. So being a female, I think depending on her body image, hopefully it won't affect her too much, but she might be a little bit aware that the one leg is skinnier, and she may definitely become frustrated if she has a shoe problem, because most girls love shoes, and if she finds that one's uncomfortable, or if she has to buy 2 pairs of shoes just to get the right fit, that's going to be frustrating. But hopefully she'll grow up with a good head on her shoulders and won't bother her too much.
I'll show you my bubble. They don't fit